This is gonna be a glorious video that you need to hear. I'm going to talk about the shift. The first question to ask is, what are you being driven from? Okay, and we'll get into this. I'm going to explain, and it's really interesting to see, and hopefully that will help you. Firstly, I just want to say I am not demonizing a 9 to 5. I think that we should all be driven by what is truly put inside of us. And if that is the structure of a 9 to 5, that's great. I'm speaking directly to the people who are feeling like there's something burning in their soul. They're feeling, you can tell if I'm speaking to you, you know what I mean? Like, you can tell. Your soul can scream to you in so many ways. It can be that you're not fulfilled. It can be that you have a feeling of you're made for something more. It can be you're completely burnt out 24/7 and you're constantly betraying yourself for the sake of this job, which I disagree with. I disagree that we shouldn't be betraying ourselves to the point of excess people pleasing to please everyone but ourselves. I just don't think that's how you can show up well to people anyway. Like, I don't think a nervous system that is in high stress and in fight or flight mode because they're people pleasing and constantly burnt out and can't even think for themselves in an unconscious patterns, I don't think that you can show up as your best self in that state, which is the exact reason why you will be able to feel if your soul is screaming at you, you know what I mean? And we can get caught in this loop. So I'm gonna explain it. The biggest part about this whole thing, and the hardest part, is that it's all about liminal space. Liminal space is so uncomfortable. We're taught to fear liminal space. Literally, if you think back to school, our dynamic is literally, you go to school, you get a job. That's how we're programmed to think. You go to school, you get a job, right? And it's like, that is literally the system that we're programmed into. Even being wrong, we're not taught in school that being wrong is a good thing, you know what I mean? And actually being wrong is part of life. Like, that's how you learn. But in school, it's like, if you're wrong, you're wrong. And then you start like not even wanting to put your hand up because you don't want to be wrong, you know what I mean? I can understand also why this topic is triggering, because it's literally our identity. It's how we're programmed. So it's literally going against our programming. So it's gonna feel triggering. The whole thing, which I've learned, is that it's all just what your nervous system can handle in liminal space, because liminal space can feel so uncomfortable and stillness can feel so uncomfortable to our system because we're so used to hustling, striving, and that is what is seemed as successful. Whenever we're in stillness, like, you can literally be flapping around because it's uncomfortable to us to be in that state of stillness and actually listening to ourselves. Because for me, in my 9 to 5, I felt like I couldn't think consciously. I felt like I couldn't think consciously. It was like screaming at me because I just couldn't think for myself, because you're in this constant and your blinkers are on, and when your blinkers are on, you can't hear yourself because you're only operating from that state of perhaps fear, and you can only see that far, so you can't actually hear yourself. After I left that 9 to 5, I got offered, this is like obviously way after, I got offered a 9 to 5, a new one, that was literally like my dream job. You can't even write it. It was like my actual dream job that I thought was my dream job, if that makes sense. It was like what is seemed as successful. Like, it paid 3 times the amount, and my ego was screaming at me like, you're crazy, girl. You're actually crazy. Like, how are you turning this down? It was so hard on my ego. But I'd taken money off the pedestal, because when you take money off the pedestal, you actually can hear yourself and where you're being called to. Rather than if we're operating from putting money on the pedestal, there is always a aspect of fear. And you know what? A question I love to ask, and it helps so much with making decisions that are actually like core to you and your values, is, if I had £2 million right now, what would I be doing? And if you wouldn't be in your role, then it's like, okay, what is driving me to do my 9 to 5, you know what I mean? It's like, and I'm not telling you to quit, but I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? I'm trying to give you awareness. Am I operating from fear then? Because if I removed money from the top pedestal, I wouldn't even be doing this. And it gives you something to think about, because you're like, oh, what would I be doing? And then we can also fear oh my gosh, I'd be doing nothing. Like, I'd just be scrolling on social media, blah, blah. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. And I'm so sure you wouldn't, because eventually you'd get bored of doing that. And like, that is obviously like your system is over stressed, right? So we seek things for also peace and just like relaxation. But over time, we naturally, as humans, we're creative beings. We're literally we're creative beings. So we would naturally do things if we had that period of stillness, and we would do things that we actually feel drawn to, you know? Drawn to, for us, listening to us, without operating from fear, we would do things that we feel actually drawn to naturally. Over Christmas, over lockdown, or like a period where you have permission to or say, for example, like, I don't know if anyone got furloughed. If you're getting furloughed and you know that money's taken care of, you then are acting how you actually want to act. You have that liminal space, but it's secure because you've got that money aspect taken care of, and so we're so allowed. You can see what you do from a state of love rather than fear, can then find a new motivation that's driven by love and not fear. And I don't know if anyone's seen Wicked, and it's the scene where she's falling down and she's like, no more second guessing, too late to go back to sleep. And like, in my head I'm thinking, to sleep, like unconscious patterns, too late to go back to sleep, which is our unconscious beliefs and patterns and fear that's holding us hostage, right? Where it's like, it's basically like being asleep. And then it's time to trust my instincts, which is faith, right? Close my eyes, blind faith, and leap. This is what the song says. And then she jumps off this thing and she's flying down into the, she's falling. As soon as she's jumped, she's falling. And that is so significant because it's like all her unconscious beliefs are coming up and her fear is coming up, right? She's falling, it feels uncomfortable, she's flapping around, she doesn't know what to do. Then she sees her inner child. She sees her inner child. And it gives her a new striving motivation that is driven from purely love, and then she flies. The fact that her intention changed and it gave her an even stronger drive, because love is the strongest force, right? Love overweighs fear. The frequency of love is so much stronger than fear. So imagine what you could do from a state of love. Like, imagine the driving force behind that. It's a new purpose. And this took me so long to understand because I was flapping around for ages. I was flapping because it's so uncomfortable. Liminal space is uncomfortable. We're taught to fear it. We're taught to literally work like rats. Like, we're... And then I also love this quote because it's literally, look at the birds in the sky. Like, look at the birds in the sky. Are we not more valuable than they? They were taken care of. It's a natural flow rather than a force of I need, hustle, strive, work yourself to the bone. And it's that very stillness that allows us to see that we are creative beings, right? Because when we don't give ourselves the space, or when we don't have the space, we can't, because we're driven by fear, we can't even see that, because it's the stillness that allows us to see. Becoming okay with liminal space and unwiring the old belief that keeps us in fear. When you are okay with liminal space, that comes from faith. Truly, it comes from faith. And oh my goodness gracious, it's like, I feel like bursting. It's so interesting because some of the most amazing opportunities that I've had have literally come from a burst of inspiration that can skyrocket you way further than hustling ever could. And it's like, it's crazy because when you're really in stillness and listening, you can hear far beyond the hustling, and it can literally move you so much further because you're acting from a state of love and inspiration. And when you're acting from love and inspiration, it gives you the you get these creative impulses and you take them and it takes you way further, and you end up in these rooms and opportunities that you would have never got before if you were hustling and following the old ways or the ways that we're meant to. It's crazy. I sound crazy saying it, it feels, but it's so crazy in the best way. If you want to feel the same way, I really do actually highly recommend reading my book, because It's all about a direct conversation that you can have with God. For me, that's how faith is formed, you know, is really having that real connection and relationship and conversation. That's how it's formed, that security, and the security comes from God and within. Learning what really matters, where my peace really comes from. I heard that the other day and it made me like, ah! Because that's truly what it is. It's truly, truly, truly what it is. Also in Wicked, they say, I'm flying solo, but at least I'm flying free. That hits as well. You will be able to hear what's on your heart and what's placed inside of you. You know, like a deeper purpose driven by love. And you'll be able to hear that when you speak to God, like you will. You're able to flow naturally rather than from force and fear and what we're taught we need to do. What's programmed into us that's not actually ours. Driven by our ego and what we think we should be doing, what we're told. This is the book. 100 pages of quiet clarity and how to hear and listen in conversation. It reveals how to form that conversation, how to be in that conversation, how to experience that conversation. It's being truly rich. I can't even explain it to you. I can't even explain it to you. The peace, everything. I could burst with gratitude. I can't even tell you. So what would we do? What would we do if we weren't driven by fear? And if we were secure enough to operate from love? What would we do? Where would we go? What would we want to do? What would we want to give? Who would we want to serve? What's really connected to our purpose? I literally have in the journal section, if I was handed £1 million, how would I act? Because for me, I feel like that is literally what tells us. I hope you got some gems. See you in the next video. So much love.